week 3 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few kickers I would drop this week. The first guy, Matt Prater, the Arizona Cardinals. So Prater, we know he's got a big boot and been one of the best kickers in the last decade here. But the first 2 weeks of the season, he's got nothing to show for it. Week 1 versus Kansas City, 1 point. And week 2 at Vegas, 1 point. But obviously in that Vegas game, they had to get a couple 2-point conversions and keep scoring touchdowns was this Arizona Cardinal team. And it paid off, and they won the ball game in overtime at the Raiders. So right now, this offense, they've scored over 20 points the first 2 weeks of the season here. But Matt Prater's not getting the job done right now. There's so many good, talented kickers out there on the waiver wire in general. And right now, he's just a kicker I can't trust. Yeah, he could turn things around and get things going. But so far, we haven't seen it from Matt Prater. And maybe Father Time's catching up to him. And also, this Cardinal team does like to go for a lot of 2-point conversions. So right now, Matt Prater dropped already in over 20% of fantasy leagues over the last week here. And after first 2 weeks only scoring 2 fantasy points, there's no reason to hold on to him. The next guy's Nick Folk of the New England Patriots. So last season, Nick Folk was a top 10 kicker in fantasy points. But so far this season, only 5 fantasy points in the first 2 weeks of the season. And this New England offense, they get a team that you would think would settle for a lot of field goals. But so far in the first 2 games, only scoring 24 points total. And week 3 versus Baltimore, I believe this ball game as well is going to be a tight, contested game, even though we saw the wild one between the Dolphins and the Ravens. But right here, this offense is built on running the football on defense. And Nick Folk, no doubt about it, they could get in the red zone a few times and have a good ball game. But so far, just like I mentioned with Prater, 5 points ain't going to cut it in the first few weeks of the season here. And also, there's a lot of good kickers out there on the waiver wire. So I would drop Nick Folk this week. And the third and final kicker I look to drop this week is Robbie Gould of the San Francisco 49ers. So Robbie Gould, he had a pretty decent ball game in week 2 versus the Seattle Seahawks. And right here, Jimmy G's back in the offense. And to be honest, I think this offense is better off with Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback. They almost made the Super Bowl last season. They were a fourth quarter away of beating the Los Angeles Rams and getting there. So Robbie Gould definitely could get more opportunities. But right now, like I said, he's up there in age as well as Robbie Gould. And there's more talented kickers, even though he does have 11 fantasy points so far this season. Not bad. And week 3 at Denver, a good altitude over there where the kickers have the advantage where that ball carries, obviously. But right now, a lot of good kickers in fantasy football. I don't think Gould's a top 12 kicker so far this season. Yeah, he could prove me wrong. And like I said, with Jimmy G now behind center, this offense is going to be more potent, I think, and he'll get the ball to his playmakers more like a Deebo Samuel. George Kittle, we haven't seen him yet play, and we'll see if he plays in week 3. But anyway, Robbie Gould right now is a kicker I would drop, but no doubt about it, I would revisit him on bye weeks or if he gets going, which I could see. But right now, he's not a top 12 kicker, and I would drop him this week. So that's a few kickers I would drop here for week 3 of the fantasy football season.